The 2019 appropriation bill passes third reading, completing its journey at the House of Representatives. The House had on Tuesday considered and adopted the report of its committee on the appropriation with slight amendments. The 8.916 trillion naira budget is 86 billion naira higher than the proposal of the 8.83 trillion naira presented by President Muhammadu Buhari to the National Assembly for the 2019 fiscal year. The lawmakers also adopted the recommendation of the Appropriations Committee, which proposed that 10 billion naira be added to support the victims of crisis in Zamfara State. A clean copy of the bill will now be sent to the President for assent. Now, the House of Representatives has again invited President Muhammadu Buhari to address the chamber on what his government is doing to curb the rising crime rate across the country. The House on Thursday condemned the worsening security situation in the country, with some of the lawmakers describing Nigeria as a failed state. They also condemned the seemingly sluggish response on the part of the executive and the security agencies to the security challenges besetting the nation. With the House of Representatives having adequately deliberated about Katsina and the killings in other parts of the country, the lawmakers moved to re-invite President Buhari, asking him to address the lower chamber in 48 hours. But the president is currently on a private visit to the United Kingdom. And it's the second time the House would be inviting the President in just 3 weeks. Now, the Federal Executive Council has approved the construction of 7 model schools in each zone of the country, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, disclosed this at a media briefing after the council meeting on Thursday. The schools, which are to be sited in Imo, Katsina, Bauchi, Edo, Lagos and Nasarawa, will cost about 4.6 billion naira. The council also approved the contract for the supply of first-line antiretroviral drugs for the National Agency for Control of AIDS, NACA. The contract is in the sum of over 1.6 billion naira. Now, data feeds are coming through all in one place simultaneously on all of our social media platforms. You can be a part of the show. Tweet at me at KAY using the hashtag State of the Nation to join the conversation. It's prime time in Lagos, and this is State of the Nation. I'm Kayode Alayande, and this is State of the Nation. Welcome again to the program. We invite you to be a part of the show using the hashtag State of the Nation, and tweet also at me at KAY Alayande. We are glad to have you join the conversation. So what's on the menu tonight? The level of insecurity in Nigeria in recent times has gone fever high, and this time there is no denying it. Talk about kidnapping, armed robbery and banditry, and wanton destruction of lives and property, especially in the northern parts of the country. Kaduna, Zamfara, Nasarawa, Katsina and Abuja have been in the news lately for the wrong reasons. According to the Inspector General of Police, 685 people have been kidnapped across the country between January and April of this year alone. The Kajuru Castle killings and kidnappings readily come to mind. The perpetrators have even become more brazen. 2 policemen attached to the National Assembly, board chairman of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, Mohammed Mahmoud, and his daughter, 5 people at Zamfara Secondary School, and the father-in-law of the president's aide, are the most recent and crippling victims of this menace. The list is endless. What's going on? To discuss this, we have Cheta Nwaze. He's a data analyst and research analyst, and Femi Aratokun Ali, security risk and crisis management consultant. Both of them are joining us from our Abuja studio. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of the show. All right.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, let me start with you, Cheta Nwaze. We've heard so much rhetorics and promises from leaders and the authorities, but non-commensurate results or solutions. What should we be talking about right now? What's the direction?
The direction of the security situation in the country, unfortunately, is spiraling down. The security forces appear to have lost control. When you have a situation where the army is heavily involved in security, last I checked, deployed in 32 of 36 states, then it tells you that something is completely broken in our policing system. And we are now using force, military force, as a default to solve problems. That shouldn't be so. We need to understand the nature of the problems that we're having. We need to properly document. We need to be honest about the causes of the problems. And when we can do that, then we can start having proper solutions. As long as we don't have proper documentation, we don't know the cause, we don't have intelligence about the who is involved, then we'll keep running on a wild goose chase, and this thing will keep getting worse.
Let me ask you, the other gentleman there, please. It appears that data collection is a problem because the police also has issues being able to track down where people are at a certain time. As a security analyst and professional yourself, what do we need to fix in our security infrastructure to be able to effectively handle this problem?
Well, good evening. If I should say my own personal opinion towards this matter that we're facing in Nigeria today, number one, we're not being honest enough about the problem we're facing. And again, we need to really look into restructuring the security system in the country. We've not been able to do that, and it has become a serious problem in our country today. I'm really proud to call myself a Nigerian, but sometimes I need to be very ashamed of myself that why is my country going down when it comes to the level of insecurity we have in the country? Does this simply mean that our leaders, our people that we put there to actually administer all this situation for us are not competent enough, or what exactly is the problem? Is it the money, or is it the ideas that they've not really had? Or look, we need to look into it very well and start from restructuring and stop these old archaic ideas of how we deliver training systems to our security systems and look into the new approach that is facing the real threats in our country today.
Mr. Fatukwale, what would be your advice to the security forces? This is getting very embarrassing. And it appears that the perpetrators are closing in on the elite. Look at the attacks on people close to the president. We have seen people of means, people that we all know, come under very, very embarrassing attacks. What would be your own advice?
My own honest advice is this. They failed to get the training aspect very wrong, and this is why everything is completely in shambles today. If only they can put themselves together and tell to themselves that, look, what sort of training do we need for A, X, Y, Z? Then the country will start moving forward. But in a way whereby they don't even know what to do. So how would they know exactly how to fix it? They've lost control, but we need to re-strategize and go back to our drawing table and look for experts that can actually put all this training in place. Don't let me forget this very point. Our police officers, our Nigerian police forces, I am proud of them. They are not magicians, please. Nigerians should know this. However, Do we actually have the proper welfare, the proper training for them? The answer is zero. We do not have. So how do we want them to go out there and face all these criminals? It's not possible. They can't be magicians, they can't be messiahs for us if we don't give them the proper tools and the proper ammunition they need. They are using all this old style, battlefield style, to face the new threat we have. The technologies are not there. Look at what they even wear to all these operations. It's completely wrong. So how do you want them to actually do the job where they are meant to do it? It's not possible. They won't be able to do it, and they will do the best they can do and leave the rest for us to decide on. That is the case we are, and that is exactly what we're facing right now. It's a shame, but we need to look into it and look at how best to do it. Look, I came from London just a week ago, and I'm not just about talking. I prefer to come to my country and deliver the real training to my country, deliver the best my country should deserve from me. But again, are the leaders actually looking into what can AXYZ do to actually, deliver something good to their country? They're not looking into all that. We keep talking about billions every day, but where exactly is all this money going into? Look at our police stations. Is this something to write home about? And we want them to protect lives and properties. In what way? Who does that? This is 2019, and we're still living the style of 16th, 17th, or 18th century. It's never done. We need to move on. If we want to move ahead, then we need to be honest to ourselves, as in how well do we need to develop our police officers in a more tactical way so that they can combat all these crimes we have in our country today.
Cheta, some drama seems to be unfolding. A lot of Nigerians are not exactly happy. And the House of Representatives has asked the president to return home. And they've asked him to show up in 48 hours. If you were advising the president, what should he do? Especially a lot of Nigerians have said he's on a private visit to the United Kingdom. He still has some days balance to be back, but the National Assembly has asked him to come. If you were advising him, what would be your advice in this case?
Well, he should come home. I mean, the house is on fire. This is not the time to be doing private visits for whatever reason, unless there's something that he's not telling us that he really went to do. Now, the House of Representatives are in their right to summon him because the president, at the end of the day, is the chief security officer of the country, and the buck stops at his table. When you have a situation where his own village was attacked and his relatives were taken, then there's a problem. He's the president of all Nigerians. He has to address this situation head on. And it's not just about giving platitudes, it's about actually doing the work. If the security chiefs are found wanting, they have to go. You can't keep people who have not performed and then expect things to change. You can't be using the same old tactics and expect things to change. In terms of policing, we must come to accept the fact that we need community policing in the country. The truth is, communities, to a large extent, know who the people, who their assailants are. You can't import people from Daura into Asaba and expect those people you imported from Daura to Asaba to hit the ground running and know where to go. I'll give a very good example. In Cross River State, there's a community called Itsu that had a crisis 2 years ago now. And mobile police were deployed to keep the peace after the crisis had burnt itself out. When we got there on a research project, we found that the mobile police who were deployed from northern Nigeria had not even been to the community, despite the fact that they had been on just by the gates of the community, as it were, for about 3 months. They hadn't been inside. And why is that? They didn't speak the language, they didn't understand the people. Our security doctrine is all wrong.
Apparently,
and as long as we have this kind of security doctrine, then we'll keep going round and round the village without actually solving the problem. So first, we need to accept that we've not been doing things the right way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second, we need
I'm afraid I have to jump in now. Apparently, we have a lot of work to do on several fronts concerning our security and sundry matters. Gentlemen, I want to say thank you for coming on the program. Jeta Nwaze is a data analyst and research analyst Thank you very much for being part of the show. Mr. Femi Aratokun Ali is a security risk and crisis management consultant. Thank you for shedding your thoughts and light on the security matters that we're discussing. You're watching the program State of the Nation. We'll take a short break now and we'll be back. When we come back, we'll be discussing workers' productivity and the minimum wage. Thank you.